It's a pleasure to be here with you tonight and present this work, which we've been able to bring to life. It's been a kind of culmination of drawing resources together, which have come from many organisations and many different departments. Patricia Tian has been central in doing that, and it's meant that we can present to you as an authentic version of the pas de deux as we can lay our hands on. It's been wonderful to uncover the material in the pas de deux, not least because we know, as Jane has said, that Michael Soames and Margot Fontaine were so skilled at creating, emotion and passion in even the shortest of works. So, that's the aim here tonight, and certainly this pas de deux was a vehicle for them to do that. The curtain rises on Raymonda sitting deep in thought on a chair, and it's set on the eve of Jean de Brienne going off to war. And he visits her one last time, and you see the depiction of that kind of passionate and emotional meet. We have Shang and Riku here tonight dancing the pas de deux. They've been a joy to work with. They've been absolutely amazing. And it's been really special to see them growing in it all the time. We've had relatively little time together, considering how substantial the pas de deux is, and it's a full 10 minutes. But they've been wonderful, and they're coming to you today after a full day of Don Q, so round of applause for them. I'm going to approach the pas de deux in 3 major sections. They're going to be quite long sections. Because of the length of the pas de deux, I won't go through in real detail because we just don't have that long tonight. But we'll pick out some key moments from the run, and it also gives you a chance to see the material more. So we'll run the 3 sections. And then they'll have a little break, and then we'll do a full run for you to see. Brilliant. Ready? Yeah? So let's start at the beginning, and we'll go through to the beginning of the Grand Adagio. Okay, thank you. You okay, Shang? Do you want to get a little bit of resin? Would you like to carry on? Do you want to go, should we go back a tiny bit? Maybe we could go from Riku's soutenu. Riku, just while we've stopped, when you do this gesture, let the thought drive the movement. So the thought is just adoration and joy. So you don't have to be so open, but it's kind of, yeah. So there's a dynamic to the movement. You go, whoa. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So it's whoosh. You know, it doesn't all have to be the same speed. That was very good. And just give her a little bit more space when you come on. But we won't go back that far. Yeah. Is that okay, Jeanette, if we just go from his soutenu? Could you give him something in? Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful. Well done. Let's stop there. Fantastic. So I'm going to work backwards just because my mind's at the end. Mm-hmm. Just when you finish there, and it's the same actually for when you penché round his head this way. You can have a little bit more thought as to the sensuality of each other's touch. So you're feeling each other's cheek, you know, that you're not going to see him again for a while. You may not see him again if he dies, you know. So you're luxuriating in each other's touch. And it's beautiful if we can see that on moments like in the penché and also at just where you stop there, this one. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, lovely. Good. And it's similarly on this thing. So, Shang, what ends up happening is that you touch here and then it separates. And I think this is a mechanism to take your arm out. And it's a little bit the same in that there's that sensuality between you. You're adoring his touch. And you're giving her something to work off, Riku. Yeah. And the same here. I'm finding, Shang, that if your arm is too high, the energy isn't so expansive. If you lower your arm more, I think you'll get more of a, yeah. Yeah, that's good. It kind of gives it somewhere to go. Yeah. Good. I think it's probably time to move on, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Next section. Yeah. Thanks, Jeanette. That's good. Good. Do you want to go back a little bit? Yes. Can we have something into that? Guys, is that right for you to pick up from? Yeah. Second time of your penché round this. Thank you, Jeanette. Good. Lovely. Some beautiful moments in there. Lovely. Fabulous. Again, my mind's at the end, so we'll pick one of those moments. This bluebird lift is looking really good. And your arm actually was much more subtle, this one taking it. I think you could help yourself by lowering her, waiting to change to the pit so that you're secure with her when you're carrying, and then you can pop her off by twisting and lower to the pit at that point. And then I think that transition will happen quicker, will allow her to get down and make more of that embrace. Because we just, at the moment, we're just seeing the mechanics of the lift and then the embrace happen afterwards, and it'd be nice to make it more seamless. But I liked, it was definitely more subtle. It's improving all the time, that transition. Let's have a little look. This is the thing with these two. They're such responsive dancers that you give them the correction, and sometimes it goes a bit beyond. You maybe a little bit less. I think that time you turned so much that it caused her to not be straight when she comes down. So you little less. But I loved that the hand transition came later. I think that's going to work for you guys. Yeah, but I wouldn't go too much. Maybe a touch, but not too much. Yeah, that's better. Shang, if you can resist here as much as possible, I think that will give him I think when your shoulders go up, the whole thing goes up, and then so press down on him as much as possible. Let's leave it. We'll park that. A little thing. This moment where you're changing hands, so much better. But if you can, so that the impetus is the hand more than anything else, I think that works. This is the thing with Ashton Rediscovered, the weight changes are fiendish sometimes. But yeah. Yeah, that's nice, that's nice. I think it's stopping that focus coming too internal when you're concentrating, you know, keeping to each other, because I can see the concentration and I understand that. Okay, why don't we move on to the last sections? I think that's probably time. So we can go from this where you stopped. Thank you, Jeanette. Beautiful. Riku, I was about to give you the correction at the end to stay looking this way.
Yeah, sorry.
But you actually sold that version to me, and it is a legitimate version because it's what they do, so I'll let you get away with it.
Sorry.
But if you do, I was going to say, if you do look that way, if you end up being this way, don't be tempted to look at her because you're the one with a resolution to go there. So you're going despite her. You desperately want to stay, but the war is taking you. But you sold me that, that's fine. It's beautiful, this mime section. And actually in the notation, there's quite a lot of freedom here, which Fontaine and Soames would have filled out in their own very special way. But from watching Fontaine and other things, it seems to work best when there's a distance between you. There's a distance between your faces so that you can see each other and respond to each other's emotion. And you're doing that well. On the embrace, Shang, for my money, you're hiding a little bit behind his head.
Okay, yeah.
It looks like you're tucking away and I lose you. And actually what the notation says is that you're hugging him to your chest. So, yeah, that's great.
Okay.
But we should still be able to see you, and you get a little bit hidden.
Okay.
It would be lovely, because of this image that we have of Fontaine and Soames, where she's across his shoulders like that. It would be lovely to coach that in, and I appreciate it depends on the weight transfer being right. But it's a mechanism to get out of this lift. Yeah, to see that image. Can you, yeah, I think you can use that hand, but I think if you get that hand there sooner, there's more support. Yeah, are you comfortable getting down from there, Shang?
I'm not doing much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think you could.
Yeah.
I think you could. You can use that arm.
Right.
Again, it just creates a little bit more distance between you, which means that you can actually see and react to each other, which I think is key. And then you can come in close, for more sensual stuff, change it up. But yeah, good. Shall we fin there? Yeah, and have a moment. Woo!
First of all, I think one can say that that is a complete ballet, not just a pas de deux. There is a very clear narrative there. It's beautiful choreography, an absolute treat for us. The second thing I would say is that I think it's really nice to see something that has been really reconstructed through Benesch movement notation. It really flags up the importance of that heritage. Often the notation is used in conjunction with recordings and things like that. We don't have a recording of how Fontaine danced it. I think we can bring our memories and a certain amount of imagination to actually recognising elements in there. But this time, congratulations both to you and to Patricia for actually, sorry, you're next to me, I didn't realise that. Because I think that is something that is really very, very satisfying to know that you can achieve so much in that way. My first question, actually, you probably, either of you answering it, about actually finding, I mean, I know that the Benesch notation is all stored, but the idea came up, was suggested to you, and you had to go on a hunt.
So initially it was, have you got a video? Have you got a film? That was a couple of years ago. And then we knew there was a score at the Royal Ballet, but as it turned out, when you got it, it was minus 2 pages at the end, which was a bit kind of dramatic, really, because what do you do? So, Samara?
I gave it an initial read-through, and it came to an abrupt end after pirouette, pirouette, da, 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 and I thought, it's not the end, is it? So got in contact with the Frederick Ashton Foundation. Of course, they asked the Opera House if they, could they check the score, and they didn't have it. And there was some, fairly good searches for it at that stage, and it didn't turn up. And at that point, the decision was, well, should we can it then? We don't have a complete pas de deux. But what I read was so beautiful, and it didn't seem like there was that much missing. So, the Frederick Ashton Foundation took the decision to continue with it, and we looked at, well, there's not that much missing. Maybe it's 3/4 of a minute. There's a very good account of the ending in the David Vaughan book, so maybe we could, look at how that might look and try and follow that framework and create something convincing from that. Luckily for us, Patricia got involved and went on a meticulous search for the materials, and is really responsible for drawing together the music score and the Benesch score to make it authentic.
Well, I had a very good ally. I had Paul Murphy, who knows a very important person in the head of the library at the Opera House, and she was so quick in responding. It was really amazing. She found the conductor part, so it had all the parts, it had all the cuts. You could see exactly which part of the music it was from, because we weren't, neither of us were really familiar with Raymond Durat 1, so we could kind of put some music to it and see if it fitted, and didn't quite match the music notation that was in the Benesch score. So this was the answer, and that was just like a revelation. It was just fantastic. And then we thought, oh no, there really is 2 more pages of, or two more minutes even, wasn't it?
Well, it was longer as well, because he'd added a whole section on the end. So then it became not 3/4 of a minute, but 2 minutes. And trying to create something like that was, you felt the full weight of Ashton's genius rearing its kind of ugly head and sitting on your shoulders, and that became untenable.
So it turned out that he used two other parts of the Act One, but hadn't been recorded in the notation, in the Benes notation. So that was like the puzzle piece that was missing. And once that was put in, it was like, okay, well, we maybe have to ask another question and see if we can get the original pencil master, which is stored in Chester, I believe, which is quite a way away. So it wasn't like can't just go around the corner, or here it's all in one. It's in the cupboard. I can easily get it, but to get to Chester anyway. So fortunately for us, Gregory recalled it, and we got the 2 extra pages, and then the whole thing just fitted together. Really, it was fantastic.
I think for me it was a bit of a learning curve, because coming from BRB, where you have all the pencil masters on site,
yeah.
I assumed that they were all there, and that.
Well, they have hundreds and more than we do.
Yeah,
so,
they have a much bigger archive, but actually it was hiding in deep storage. So,
and Liz Cunliffe, who wrote the score, who actually taught me when I studied many years ago, I got her on the phone, and Jeanette had asked her, and she had no recollection at all. But I thought, it's just not like Liz to like cut off in a score. Normally, if you've not quite finished a score, you'd keep all the rough stuff still there. You'd always keep that as well. So, and knowing how meticulous she was, she wouldn't just leave it half done. She would have finished it, and she did, and she signed it at the end, which is perfect.
and yes, probably the music was arranged by John Archbury, because he was conducting
I think such a clever cut.
Yeah.
Oh my God, just incredible. The way the themes are matching in the different sections. It's so clever.
Yes, because he was involved, obviously, at the first performance. But I think it's quite interesting that the notation does come from the 70s. So
oh yeah.
At that point, they were obviously relying on memories and what could be passed on. So one can't say that it is 100% as would been in the original. So it's very interesting to look at the photographic evidence, which may or may not be absolutely as it was set, and have all those questions and challenges.
I'd love to know who was in the room. That's what I wanted to ask Liz. Who was in the room? Was it Soames? Presumably it was Ashton. I thought that maybe Svetlana had danced it, but it turns out she was going to dance it in the 70s, so it wasn't her.
Yes.
I mean,
I should think it was quite likely Soames, wasn't it?
Must have been.
And I think it's interesting, it's actually the last choreography by Frederick Ashton for Fontaine and Soames as a partnership. So one would expect that meant something.
Hopefully Margot was in the room.
No. Some of those bits sort of passed on. Anyway, I'd like to ask the dancers, I'd like to bring in Lachlan, who was involved at the beginning, if I have it right. And so had to drop out, but perhaps you could talk about your experiences in terms of trying to get this together. And I'm going to ask all the dancers how, when you're faced with something like this, and you'll know you're doing something that's really quite experimental in a way, how you find it. Okay, Lachlan first.
Hello, I feel a little like an imposter tonight because well, firstly, thanks for having me join this. It was the most fascinating experience. And I think it's really important to highlight, even though it's glossed over by you incredible people with this knowledge to read Benes, that, it shows her bourreeing around on point, but no. And how incredible it is to actually be able to decipher that information and turn it into, communicate it and translate it to a dancer. There were many hours spent, Samara and I, in the studio, and she said, no, the arm's in fifth. And I was absolutely mind-blown because I had no idea what she was reading. We started from the beginning really slowly, and it did take quite a little while to piece it together, didn't it? Because working alongside the musical score, which is always coincides with the Benes, if I'm correct. And when it's there, apart from the final 2 pages. And it was sold to me from the beginning that Samara said, well, we have this end we need to complete in some way, but it's well described, and we melt to the floor and we spin, and it turns out there are many ways you can turn and melt to the floor spinning. That we tried all of them, and I see that you didn't settle on any of them. But it really was the most wonderful experience. I think having watched it tonight, in the truest way, you see dancer and artist, and the combination of both of those worlds more than ever. Suddenly bourrée pirouette with meticulous technique, and then a melting to the floor and having to be the most pure human, feeling all of the things that we know. And I think those merge of the worlds is obviously the beauty of Ashton as we know it, and it's ever present there. Very, very bizarre in some way to explore learning a piece of choreography, hitting certain positions, making them very Ashton, very recognisably Ashton, alongside making sure that what you're feeling is quite genuine. So those worlds I found really interesting. But I just want to say thank you for having me part of it, because working with Samara was a dream, and the knowledge of somehow being able to see a squiggle on a piece of paper and know that I needed to lift her in a certain way was mind-blowing to me. Well, I will comment too that there were many times Samara said to me, "I think your right hand," while I'm lifting her, by the way, she said, "No, I think your hand needs to be here." And we would sort of maneuver the grip in the air. I'm picturing a moment, I don't know if you can remember it, where Riku pressages Shang and then spins around, and she said, "And now your hand swaps to here." And there were many moments I was like, that isn't possible. And I'm pretty sure I probably had my arms folded and was refusing.
You did do it.
But I've been proven wrong. It's possible, and in some way incredibly organic once you see it in context. And I think that's it. Its beauty is that it's there in the flesh, but it is not always sometimes the most obvious way of things happening, which is what makes it special. So.
So then could we have your impressions as well of experience of putting it together and going through the whole process?
Yeah, so we usually have a video, and nowadays in 2026 on YouTube you can find any videos online. But on this ballet, there's no existing video. There was a few blanks in the notation, so we had to see the picture and I think what they would do or what Ashton would do. So yeah, we had to really study into Ashton Ballet and things, because this is my only second time working for Ashton Ballet. I did only Rhapsody before, and this is my second time. So I had to watch so many ballets on YouTube, and what they would do, how would they move for to the next steps, or So it was really. I was just studying every single second in studio. Over like 20 hours, 30 hours. So it was really such a treasure experience, and the whole process.
So immersing yourself in Ashton, were there works that you were particularly interested in that you felt helped you for this?
Well, I just watched so many. I just watched like everything I can find online. I mean, every ballet is, and I see all the bit of like hint of every ballet in this piece. So I can find some of the steps really similar to other ballet, or oh, this is coming from this. This means this. So yeah.
There were two things that we looked at actually in particular that I think Patricia and I both felt had the right emotive quality. The white pas de deux from Marguerite and Armand. And actually this mime at the end, onto his lips, she does that in the later filming of it. And you see her do it. And also Lynn Seymour and Anthony Dowell in A Month in the Country, just because she's just so amazing at abandoning herself, as Sandra so beautifully put it, in those pas de deux. And that's some of the elements that we were trying to draw on, bring into the coaching of it. And they were helpful.
And it's interesting, of course, that Marguerite and Armand is the next work that Ashton does for Fontaine.
Yeah.
So there's often that sort of continuity that comes through.
Yeah.
And again, of course, that same sort of very strong passion in there. So, yeah. And
I think my biggest pleasure during this time is to, like you said, doing the research. First thing I looked was Margaret and Wong, and it's one of my favorite Ashton pieces. And as Lachlan said, there's the contrast between technique and being a dancer and being an artist, where we've been working on the abandonment in the last 2 rehearsals, including today, which each time when we practice or when we have rehearsals, I feel like I have a picture of Margot in my head, like how she would do sort of thing, or how she use her face and her eyes, because she's such a prima ballerina, and is that cinematic,
yeah,
very cinematic. So which is, I feel like in a lot of ballets now we don't really focus on that, but it's very, very important to, to be able to connect with yourself, with the audience, and with the people in front of you. So yeah, for me that's just joy, and also watching Sam, who has been so brilliant at demonstrating, obviously, because there's no videos, and I'd say we're different in a different time. The dancers now are different to, Margot's time. So it is hard to even imagine it, because I've not seen her live, and but when Sam demonstrating, I felt a sense of, it just, like, I can really picture it, and really thankful.
I think
for
it's
that.
marrying that thing of, you're trying to take the essence of what they did and how she moved, but we're different people and we're different dancers, and it's got to be also true to the way you move. So it's kind of, trying to match those two things and make it as genuine as it, make it feel right, because that's ultimately what they were doing. They were making it feel right, and they were so skilled at doing that. So it's kind of marrying, trying to bring out the essence of what she did and what Ashton wanted with how it fits on different bodies.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
How many rehearsals have you actually had? I know you've been doing this for 2 years, but actually putting it on the dancers' bodies.
Yeah, so we had 3 rehearsals before Christmas, and they were purely teaching rehearsals. It took us 3.5 rehearsals to get through the material, because it's a lot, it's a long pas de deux. And they can't just see it and do it, having to work it out. And then we had 3 rehearsals after our mid-season break, and 2.5 of those we were able to start looking at, the emotive content, and get it to a place where you guys felt comfortable enough that you can then layer on, all of that emotive quality that it takes. It just takes time to get to a place where you're able to do that. And then, was it 3? Was it 3 that we had? Yeah, last week we had 3, and then 1 this week.
And
One this week.
Yeah.
So really done in the minimum of time.
Particularly given the fact that you haven't got the usual resources,
Yeah.
and there's no one around who's familiar with it
Yeah.
to be able to refer to. So it's very much more challenging, and probably more challenging than actually in some senses than creating something, because you've got to be faithful to other people. So it is a major undertaking.
Yes.
And it's long for 2 dancers.
It's amazing how a video is a shortcut to understanding something. It doesn't tell you the intention, but it just gives you a sense of something, and so it can make it that much quicker to apply it, even if you don't know actually what it is.
So would you just like to say a little bit more about your involvement with the Ashton Foundation? Now you've done this, and
yeah, well, I'm part of their Stages program, which is it's an amazing initiative to bring on the younger generation and get us to a place where we have all the skills at our disposal to help stage things, and learning from Patricia has been amazing because it's all there. And, you know, even to the point where she knows what resources to record. It's just all there. And so it's learning those skills and that development. And Benesch movement notation has been an amazing part of that because it gives me the confidence to know what the intention of a piece is. You know, for me, it seems terrifying to look at a video and teach it off a video because, especially if you haven't done it. And, you know, even if you've done a ballet, you've not done every part in that ballet, you're never going to have a global understanding of what that ballet is. So for me, the notation is, it's a safety net, and it helps me know that I'm teaching what it's meant to be. Yeah, and the Ashton Foundation value that skill, and it's just come as part of the package of you know, helping me build all the other aspects that help you to become a stager, and, you know, put on as genuine an article and a piece as you can. It's amazing.
Have you had a long interest in Ashton?
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved it, and some of my favourite ballets to dance are Ashton ballets. Fee is just gorgeous. You know, we did Two Pigeons when I was quite young in the company. I was only in the corps, but I loved it. We've done Sender Ballet. We did Enigma, you know, when I first joined. So I've ended up dancing quite a few, Dream, and a month, of course, which is amazing. And also through the ranks, so I've done different roles in Ashton ballets as well. So some principal roles, some core roles, some soloist roles. So it's given me quite a kind of global appreciation of his genius.
Yeah. I think on that, are there any questions from the floor? I'm very happy to take any, if I can see them.
There's one there.
Sorry. Got one. Yeah.
You know how you're all saying how important it is to be like a person whilst dancing? I just want to know what everyone thinks whilst dancing. Like, is it the technique, is it the story, or is it something you can relate to in your own personal life? Because I know everyone's answer is different, so... Yeah.
I would say all of the above. They're all important.
Yeah, I think Samara's right. It's all of the above. I guess the hope is that you get to a point where there's this sort of level of information behind you that you can enter a total state of flow and abandon, which sounds like you've been exploring too. And I think some roles you perform and think that you've managed to nail some technical element of it, and then 5 to 10 years later you realise there's something more to bring that isn't technical. So I think there is an incredible amount of life experience that you build upon. I think that's why repeating roles is quite amazing as well. But it is probably all of the above. And for me personally, it's on any given day, don't fight what I'm actually feeling in that moment, because I think the audience always know if you're lying. I think despite the fact we're acting, I think for me, it's being the most authentic version of me in that moment while exploring the choreography. That's probably what I'd say.
So, Lachlan, would you like to say a little bit more about your experiences of Ashton?
Sure. I've been really lucky too. I mean, Fee, and I danced Fee fairly young as well. We danced Enigma. I was here for that. I haven't danced Dream, but I did. I mean, my experience in Fee has been quite wide. So I've done Coalesce and Widow Simone, which is probably the most joy I've ever felt on stage at any moment throughout my life, which again just shows his genius, this depth of character and depth of life. I think there's something quite relatable about every element of the story. What else have we done? Oh, Rhapsody. I've danced to Rhapsody Pas de Deux. Absolutely stunning. There's always this incredibly close connection to the music, which for me is almost... they just go hand in hand, don't they? If they don't, there's no point doing it. So I think in every experience of Ashton, the music is guiding the choreography so obviously, and obviously when he created it, that was a driving force. So as a dancer, there's just nothing you have to fight. It works. Incredibly difficult, but it fits once you understand it. But that can take time too.
I was going to say, I think there's something there. You said, it's incredibly difficult. I think often when we're watching these wonderful dancers and seeing it on stage, we just think, it just flows along. And so actually to have opportunities like this, to have the insight into what really goes into putting together a work like this, and an insight into the challenges that you face, not that you're making it look difficult, but because you're explaining a little bit more about what we're seeing, it actually helps people to understand more about the art of ballet, and in this case, I think specifically the art of Frederick Ashton. So I'd like to thank you all very much for joining in this event, for making it possible for all your work, because it really is a marvellous achievement to have actually brought this back to life, and to think that after half a century, we've had the opportunity of seeing an Ashton that probably very few people in the audience had a chance to see before. What a privilege. Thank you very much.